Who was the person who became a symbol of success and inspired millions to create innovative solutions? How did Soichiro Honda's life begin? One of the most famous and successful entrepreneurs in the world, this is a story not only about technology and business but also about willpower, courage, and how challenging circumstances can lead to extraordinary achievements. Today, we will uncover the secrets of his path from the very first steps, his childhood, family, education, and the moment when everything changed. What was Soichiro Honda like before he became a legend? Soichiro Honda was born on November 17, 1906, in Japan, in a small town in Shizuoka Prefecture. His family wasn't wealthy but had strong traditions of hard work and perseverance. His father, Hoso Honda, was a blacksmith, and his mother, Natsuko Honda, took care of the household. These people became the foundation for Soichiro, on which his own empire would later grow. From a young age, Soichiro showed an extraordinary curiosity and interest in mechanisms. He often spent time in his father's workshop, watching him work with metal. His admiration for his father's craft was the first impulse that drove him toward engineering. At the age of 8, Soichiro built his first mechanical project, a bicycle with an engine made from old parts. This wasn't just a toy, but a manifestation of his growing desire to learn, something that would define him throughout his life. Of course, he didn't fully understand how the engine worked at the time, but it was at this moment that the idea of mechanics and technology as something more than just a hobby began to form in his mind. Despite their modest means, the Honda family always supported his interests, understanding that their son's future would be linked to something new and unusual. His parents gave Soichiro the freedom to develop his curiosity, which played a significant role in his development. School was not the most important part of Soichiro's life. He wasn't an outstanding student and often found himself distracted by more practical matters. Despite his teacher's expectations, his interest was not focused on theory. Honda was searching for something he could create with his own hands. He attended the local school in his hometown, but often left lessons to work in the workshop. His life was tied not to books, but to real mechanics. At the age of 15, after failing to excel academically, Soichiro realized that his future would not lie in textbooks. This was a pivotal decision, as he could no longer follow the ordinary path his education prescribed. In search of more opportunities, Soichiro moved to Tokyo in 1922. He enrolled in a technical college to study engineering. Although his studies didn't come easily, he still acquired valuable knowledge. In Tokyo, he faced significant hardships. Life in the big city was incredibly expensive, and there was not enough money for tuition. Honda worked and studied, trying to make ends meet. But it was during this period that he met many people who shared his love for mechanics and engineering. He continued to take small steps in mastering the field of engineering and worked in various workshops to improve his skills. However, despite his determination, Honda struggled with his progress in college. He often got into trouble because of his disobedience and his preference for practical work over theoretical studies. He also worked on repairing cars and motorcycles in workshops to earn a living. After several years of studying in Tokyo, Soichiro returned to his hometown. Disappointed with academic life but filled with new ideas and experiences. He understood that to become an engineer and make a career, he needed more than just a diploma. His dream was much more ambitious. He wanted not just to work with mechanisms, but to create something new, unusual. Back home, Soichiro not only continued working in his father's workshop, but he also began to show himself as an entrepreneur. He started creating his own projects and developing the first mechanisms. But the most important step he took during this time was the decision not to give in to difficulties and to seek new paths for development. This was the beginning of his journey to becoming the person we know today as the founder of Honda. Soichiro Honda wasn't an average student, and his journey to success began not with textbooks and diplomas. He became his own mentor, and his desire to create was stronger than any difficulties. But what became the catalyst that propelled him to the next level? Why did he make the decision that changed his life when everything seemed so difficult? Dreams of the future and the desire to change the world with mechanics and engineering became the foundation for his next chapter. But what exactly gave him the strength to move forward and never give up? In 1928, before founding the company we all know today, Honda opened his first workshop, Tokai Seiki, where he began manufacturing piston rings. At first, the parts were far from perfect, but Honda wasn't someone who gave up easily. He spent hours studying tolerances, metal properties, even riding his bicycle to libraries and technical schools to understand how to achieve perfection. He wasn't just trying to build quality, he was trying to outperform the existing standard. World War II changed everything. Honda's factory was partially destroyed, and Japan's economy was left in ruins. For most, this would have been the end. But for Honda, it was just the beginning. The country needed transportation, cheap, simple, reliable, and in Honda's mind, an idea formed: attach a motor to a bicycle. This wasn't just an invention, it was a solution that allowed people to move again across broken roads and shattered cities. In 1946, he founded the Honda Technical Research Institute, where he and his small team began building motorized bicycles using leftover Army generator engines. It was true improvisation on the edge of survival, and yet this was the spark that lit a new era. By 1949, they released their first real motorcycle, the Model D, or Dream. It wasn't just a modified bicycle anymore, it was a fully designed, lightweight, reliable motorbike. From this moment, Honda's growth accelerated. He realized that success meant more than engineering. It meant competition. He invested in racing, refined his designs, and pushed for extreme durability and speed. In 1959, Honda entered the international scene by competing in the legendary Isle of Man TT, the world's most prestigious motorcycle race. Just 2 years later, in 1961, Honda won the top 5 positions in multiple race classes. Europe was stunned. A small Japanese company had taken the podium by storm. Honda famously said, "If we're going to compete, we'll win, otherwise there's no point." After this victory, Honda became a global name, synonymous with reliability and innovation. The company rapidly expanded, opening factories overseas, designing new models, and by the mid-1960s, Honda had become the largest motorcycle manufacturer in the world. But Soichiro Honda wasn't finished. His eyes were already looking ahead. Everything he built on 2 wheels was merely the foundation for something greater. The cars he had once dreamed of still lived only in his sketches. But the world had already realized Honda was here to stay. The only question left was, what would happen when he put everything he'd learned on 4 wheels? Sometimes a dream begins with the noise of an old generator and a rusty bicycle, and ends with the roar of engines around the world. But what happens when the man who always pushed forward finally stops? After dominating motorcycle racing, Soichiro Honda turned to the goal he'd carried since childhood: to build a car that would change the world. In 1963, he introduced his first automobile, the Honda T360, a compact pickup truck. Just months later, he released the S500 Roadster, a lightweight sports car with a chain drive inspired by Honda's motorcycles. It was a risk, but Honda never feared risk. He welcomed every challenge as a chance to grow. In 1972, Honda launched the Civic, compact, fuel-efficient, but incredibly reliable. As America struggled through an oil crisis, large, gas-hungry cars fell out of favor. The Civic became a symbol of change: practical, ecological, and smart. The Accord, released in 1976, cemented Honda's reputation. It would go on to become the best-selling car in the US. During the 1980s, the first time a Japanese brand outpaced American giants on their own turf. And Honda achieved it not through flashy marketing or heritage, but through a belief: if we're building a car, it has to be better. Always. No excuses. But Honda remained, above all else, human. In 1973, he officially stepped down as president. Soichiro no longer ran the company day to day, but his presence never faded. He visited factories, spoke to engineers, criticized boldly, praised humbly, and always kept looking forward. In 1981, Honda introduced the world's first in-car navigation system. By 1986, they launched Acura, their premium brand for the US. In 1988, Honda conquered Formula One, winning with McLaren Honda and Ayrton Senna. Soichiro saw his name become a global symbol. And yet, he remained the man who had once fallen in love with the sound of a working engine. He passed away on August 5, 1991, at the age of 84, without ceremony, without spectacle, leaving behind not just a company, but a philosophy. Today, Honda is more than cars and motorcycles. It's airplanes, robotics, hybrid technology, and even artificial intelligence. But inside every engine, every frame, every silver H, his vision lives on. The eyes of a man who once said, "Success is 99 failures and 1 right step." And if you ever start an engine, remember, in its hum, somewhere echoes the name Honda.